Chapter 19. The Scores Come Out. Anne was growing so fast that Marilla was shocked one day standing next to her to find that the girl was taller than she was. "My, how you've grown," she said, almost not believing it. A sigh followed the words. Marilla felt a strange sadness over Anne's height. The child she had grown to love had disappeared somehow, and here was this tall, serious-eyed girl of 15. That night Matthew came home and found Marilla crying all by herself in the living room. "I was just thinking about Anne," she explained. "She'll probably be away from us next winter. I'll miss her terribly." "She'll come home often," comforted Matthew. "But it won't be the same as having her here all the time," said Marilla, enjoying her gloomy mood. "But men don't understand these things." There were other changes in Anne, too. For one thing, she had grown much quieter. Perhaps she dreamed more than before, but she certainly talked less. "You don't chatter half as much as you used to, or use such big words," Marilla said one day. "What has come over you?" Anne just laughed and blushed a little. She just didn't feel like talking as much as she used to. "You've only got 2 months left before the entrance," said Marilla. "Do you think you'll be able to pass?" Anne shivered. "I don't know," she said. "Sometimes I think I will, but then I get horribly afraid. I wish it were all over, Marilla. It haunts me. Sometimes I wake up in the night and wonder what I'll do if I don't pass." "Why, just go to school next year and try again," said Marilla cheerfully. "I don't know if I'd have the heart for it," said Anne. "It would be awful to fail, especially if if the others passed." With the end of June came the end of school. Miss Stacy was leaving to take a teaching job far away. Anne and Diana walked home on the final day of school with tears flowing down their faces. "Doesn't it seem like the end of everything?" asked Diana tearfully. "You shouldn't feel half as bad as I do," cried Anne. "You'll be back again next winter. But I guess I've left our dear old school forever, if I'm lucky enough to pass the entrance." "It won't be the same," said Diana, drying her eyes. "We sure had jolly times, Anne. It's terrible to think that they're all over." The next week, Anne went to the mainland to study extra hard. Then she and the rest of the group took the entrance, which took 2 whole days. Anne returned to Green Gables on a beautiful Friday evening. Diana was there to greet her. They acted as if Anne had been away for years. "Oh, how good it is to be back," cried Anne. "Green Gables is the loveliest spot in the whole world." "How did you do?" asked Diana. "Geometry was the only thing I had trouble with, but I have a feeling that I might have passed that too," said Anne. "But we won't know anything until the scores come out in the newspaper in 2 weeks. We'll just have to wait and see." "I just hope I got one of the top scores," said Anne after a pause. By that she meant that she hoped she had scored better than Gilbert Blythe. Every time she had even glimpsed Gilbert's face, it made her work harder to get the best score possible. She knew that her whole school was waiting to see which one of them scored higher. Some students were even betting money on one or the other. But Anne had another, more noble reason to score high, for Matthew and Marilla. She was so thankful for all they had done for her. Besides, Matthew had told her that he thought she would get the highest score in the whole island. She didn't want to let him down. Anne thought that it would be foolish to even dream of scoring in the top 10, but she hoped she would. Then she could see Matthew's kindly brown eyes beam with pride in what she had done. When 3 weeks had passed and the scores still were not in the evening paper, Anne was so nervous that she felt as if she might never eat or sleep again. Next evening she was sitting in the window, trying to let the beautiful summer night make her forget about the entrance, when she saw Diana come flying down the road. Anne knew at once that Diana had the entrance scores. She was almost dizzy and her head started to ache. She could not move a step. It seemed like an hour before Diana rushed down the hall and burst into the room without even knocking. "Anne, you passed!" she cried, waving the paper in the air. "You and Gilbert are tied for first place." Anne managed to make her shaking hands work well enough to take the paper and look for herself. There it was, her name on top of a list of 200 students. "I'm dazzled inside," she said. "I want to say 100 things, but I just can't find words to say anything." Diana smiled back at Anne, exhausted from her long run. "Excuse me, Diana," said Anne when she had settled down a bit. "I must go out in the field and tell Matthew." As luck would have it, Marilla and Matthew were standing together, talking with Mrs. Rachel Lynde when the girls reached the hayfield. "Oh, Matthew," cried Anne. "Marilla, I passed and I'm first, or one of the first." "Well, now, I've always said it," said Matthew. "I knew you could beat 'em all." "You've done pretty well, I must say," said Marilla, trying to hide her pride from Mrs. Lynde's critical eye. But Mrs. Lynde seemed even more excited. She sure has done well, and I won't be shy about saying it," she hollered. "You're a credit to your friends, Anne. That's what, and we're all proud of you."